Why a 4 that was released to the world almost 20 years ago could be so expensive? When a lot of people think about new age Mustangs, this is the picture that comes to mind. But for '03 and '04, a very special new age Mustang nicknamed the Terminator was produced, and most people remember this. There's no denying that these cars are in an all-time high price-wise. We have seen cars selling for this and cars that have sold for this. But before we get into the why these cars are selling for this amount, first of all, I think it is very important to understand the history of these cars. So let's get into it.
This ends all the debates. This car was intended to come to hit the market, give the customers everything they've been clamoring for some time now, and on the competitive front, just end the debate, terminate the discussions.
This is the man responsible for saving the Mustang brand. In the late 1980s, Ford was thinking about killing the Mustang and replacing it with this, a Ford Pro. The word leaked out, and if it wasn't for the thousands of Mustang fans that wrote letters to Ford to not kill the Mustang would have been history today. To bring a new Mustang to life, Ford estimated that it would cost them around $1 billion. Ford didn't want to invest this kind of money into this car, so here's what happened next. Listen to Coletti in his own words how they saved and brought back the Mustang for 1994.
The name John Coletti and the Mustang are now forever interwoven together because of your influence and impact on its life and resurgence.
We put together a little team that we ended up calling a Skunk Works team.
Yeah, the famous Skunk Works.
Yeah, and we went off and, we told the guys, it says, look, we can't do it according to Ford's normal rules and practices. We can deliver this car to you. And I'll never forget the meeting with Alex Trotman in February that year. We had told him that we could do this car for about 1/7 of what a normal program would cost. Let me just put this in perspective for you. A program to do a Mustang like that would have probably cost well over $1 billion, maybe closer to $1.5 billion. Ford will probably shoot me for using these numbers, okay? And we told Alex that we thought we could do it for much less than that, maybe like $300 million. So we had 5 objectives that were given to us as a team. And the first 4 objectives had to do with the car. Could we do a V8? Could we do this? Could we do that? The last objective had to do with the finances. And I said, Mr. Trotman, yes, we can accomplish number 1, we can accomplish number 2, we can accomplish number 3, and we can accomplish number 4. And I thought this was the end of the project. And I said, unfortunately, we cannot do number 5. We can't do this car for that price. And he says, well, what can you do it for? And we gave him a number, which was still a lot less than normal. Yeah. And he says, I'll take it. Nothing could match the energy of bringing that car to market, I can tell you. I mean, I think I speak for the whole team.
And now the Mustang has never been hotter.
We had our best sales year last year in 15 years, so here's a car that people were thinking about killing, and it's just, and its 2 competitors across town have announced their demise.
SVT, or Special Vehicle Team, was an arm of Ford Motor Company, responsible for the development of the company's highest performance vehicles. John Coletti was a chief engineer that led SVT from 1993 to 2004. Here are some of the cars under Coletti's leadership. The SN95 Mustang. Well, basically he helped save the Mustang brand. Without his leadership, there will be no Mustang today. The 1995 Cobra R. With a limited production of only 250 units, this bad boy Mustang, powered by a 5.8 liter that pumped out 300 horsepower, it also came with a factory 22-gallon fuel cell. The 2000 Cobra R. By now, this car is an icon of new age Mustangs. With a limited production of only 300 units, This Mustang was powered by an impressive 5.4-liter dual overhead cam motor that delivered 385 horsepower. This was also the first 6-speed Mustang ever. The 2005 Ford GT, a throwback to the original 1960s Ford GT40. It was powered by a supercharged 5.4-liter V8 that delivered 550 horsepower. The car could complete the quarter-mile in 11.6 seconds at over 126 miles per hour. Truly incredible performance for that period of time. So yeah, Mr. Coletti knows a thing or two about building legendary cars. Terminator Cobras were underrated from the factory. Ford claimed that they had 390 horsepower, but in reality, these motors made between 420 to 440 horsepower from the factory, based on what these cars were putting down on the dyno bone stock. And let me tell you something, these cars back in their day with minor bolt-ons were monsters. Let me just not talk about it, let's just show you. Play the clip. Here are some key features that made this car amazing and unique. First supercharged Mustang ever. 4-valve dual overhead cam motor, hand-built and signed by the two engineers that assembled the motor. T56 6-speed manual transmission. Independent rear suspension in the back. This car became a legend soon after its release. Here is the definition of a legend: an extremely famous or notorious person, especially in a particular field. In this case, this will be a car many know in the streets, a car collectors are taking notice, a sure legend in Mustang history. I know what you're thinking, the pandemic has made all cars super expensive, and you're right. What you have to consider is that these cars were on a rise before the pandemic started. If anything, the pandemic accelerated the prices that these cars were going to be in a few years from now. Remember, it's all about demand and supply. The car was only made for 2 years and it was already a limited production car. You love them because of the history that they have. You love them because of how they made you feel when you were when a younger version of you saw them dominating on the streets. You love them because of how they make you feel when you're behind the wheel of the car. These cars, I believe within my heart that they have a soul. And in car history, these cars have their own place. They were special. They were special for my generation growing up. They became a legend because of the work that they did on the street, the work that they're still doing even almost 20 years after they came out. You know, and prices, honestly, I think they're gonna rise, and you know, they're just not gonna go down from this point on, unless you find a beat up 03 or 04 Cobra, which there are some, and you're still gonna pay a premium versus other years before where you could pick this car up maybe for like 10, 12. You're just not gonna see those type of prices anymore, even for beat up cars, because just the top of the echelon on this car just have gone up so high that we're not gonna see those prices anymore. I hope that this video has given you an idea of why these cars are on the rise. And truly, I hope that you've learned something new today. Like always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.
34,750 to own the performance that everywhere else costs more like 50 large. The 600 certified SBT dealers across the country will have about 12,000 Cobras to sell this year. And that should not be a problem. With the base price under $35,000, there's no question the 2003 Cobra has to be the all-time high-performance bargain.